arms race was central to the Cold War. The arms race is literally a race between the U.S. and Soviet Russia to see who can develop weapons the best and the fastest. But the arms race quickly turned into the nuclear arms race when the Soviet Russia was the first to develop missiles. They were also the first country to get their hands on uranium and create nuclear weapons. Their weapons were similar to those that were dropped on Japan. It was shocking to any other country that the Soviet Union was capable of having this type of mass destruction in their hands. Then the U.S. started to join and try to defeat Russia, which later led to the creation of the hydrogen bomb.
On September 23, 1949, President Harry S. Truman shocked the world when he announced that the Soviet Union had conducted a successful test of an atomic weapon the month before. Although many scientists and some of the U.S. intelligence community had predicted the Soviets would acquire this advanced technology shortly after the Americans, the general surprise sparked a sense of panic in the United States. Already distressed about the growing division and militarization of Eastern Europe, high-ranking officials in the United States government quickly mobilized in an effort to reassert American interests in the world scene. Initially, Truman sought the advice of the Atomic Energy Commission, or the AEC, formed in 1946 to oversee the research and development of nuclear weapons. The AEC directed a moderate stockpiling of fissionable materials following the Second World War. Though aware, scientists involved in the Manhattan Project believed the manipulation of atomic energy could trigger an explosion of unlimited magnitude, AEC Director David Lilienthal saw no reason to promote such research during peacetime. But following the Soviet show of force during the summer of 1949, one commission member, Louis Strauss, criticized Lilienthal's decision to dismiss further analysis of thermonuclear weapons, arguing that the only way to regain nuclear superiority would be the creation of a crash program aimed at the development of a new type of weapon, a hydrogen bomb. Strauss began an aggressive campaign to convince Truman of the merits of his proposal. Since the AEC could not reach a conscious decision on its own concerning the H-bomb, Lilienthal instructed the General Advisory Committee of the Commission to study the matter further and offer a recommendation as soon as possible. Consisting of scientists and directed by Manhattan Project leader J. Robert Oppenheimer, the GAC discussed the merits and potential dangers of developing hydrogen bombs in the United States. After months of open debate, Truman announced his decision to the American people. Concurring with the Secretary of State, Truman felt the United States had no alternative but to proceed with research and development of all forms of atomic weapons, including the hydrogen bomb. Since negotiations with the Soviets regarding the issue seemed hopeless, 2 days after Truman's proclamation, British authorities arrested German native Klaus Fuchs, accused of selling secrets that he attained while working as a scientist in the Manhattan Project to the Soviets. This unforeseen case of espionage solidified Truman's resolve to obtain a technological advance over the Soviet Union. On March 10th, the President directed the AEC to develop a program specifically geared toward the investigation and eventual production of H-bombs. This decision, in conjunction with the Soviet response 4 days later, to design their own escalated to the arms race and heightened this distrust between the two superpowers for years to come. Hydrogen bomb, or H-bomb, is a weapon deriving a large portion of its energy from the nuclear fusion of hydrogen isotopes. An atomic bomb, uranium or plutonium, is split into lighter elements that together weigh less than the original atoms, the remainder of the mass appearing as energy. Unlike the fission bomb, the hydrogen bomb functions by the fusion, or joining together, of lighter elements into heavier elements. The end product, again, weighs less than its components. The difference, once more, appearing as energy. Because extremely high temperatures are required in order to inflate fusion reactions.
The Strategic Arms Limitation Talks, or SALT, were 2 rounds of bilateral talks and corresponding international treaties involving the United States and the Soviet Union on the issue of armament control. The first talk, or SALT I, led to the Anti-Ballistic Missile Treaty and an interim agreement between the 2 countries. The SALT I treaty was the 5-year agreement that levels the number of intercontinental ballistic and submarine-launched missiles each country could have. In 1975, 33 nations joined the United States and the Soviet Union in signing a commitment to detente incorporation called the Helsinki Accords. In the late 1970s, President Jimmy Carter was growing concerned over harsh treatment of the protesters in the Soviet Union. This threatened to prevent a second round of SALT negotiations. When Soviets invaded Afghanistan, the United States Congress refused to ratify SALT II. Finally, in 1979, Carter and Brezhnev signed the SALT II agreement. Following this, concerns arose as nations such as China and India began to build their nuclear arsenals.